Welcome to the Reinvent Your Reality podcast. I'm your host, Jen Palko. Welcome to season 4, episode 4 of this podcast. And in honor of lucky number 44, which is the age myself and my guest, Tara Aldridge, will be turning in 2 months. This is our over 40 midlife crackdown edition, where we're going to delve into 5 of the biggest myths of your 40s, as well as other topics like why woke women over 40 is scaring people, as well as living in the prehistoric dinosaur era of technology. So welcome, Tara. Happy to have you. It's been a bit.
Be here. Hi, Jen.
Yes, I'm very excited to do another episode with you.
Same.
Because they're
always
always
a fun time.
Always fun, always juicy. And first off, let me start by saying, I don't know if you can remember, but I have memories of going to Spencer's the Spencer store in the mall and seeing all the over the hill like gifts for people, like the canes and all the old people things, and I know over the hill is supposed to be over 40, right?
Yeah.
And I always used to think, oh my God, that's so old, you know.
Me
and
too.
I'm sure it still exists, all that kind of stuff, and Party City, Party City doesn't exist anymore, I guess. But I always used to see that stuff and think, oh my God, 40 is so old. Like I'm never gonna, it seems so far away. And now we're here. I'm 43, you're 43, and
Right.
we're living it, and it doesn't seem quite like it did. But I feel like there's still a lot of stereotypes and ageism and all kinds of things that that we're going to get into some of the fallacies of turning 40 and being a certain age and how we still kind of think about it. And a lot of these are probably boomer era thoughts. So what do you think?
Well, first off, you jogged my memory because I remember being in Spencer's and seeing this balloon that said, "So happy I turned 40," and it's supposed to spell out shit. I don't know if you remember that.
I do not, no.
Okay, because I remember I was probably in middle school the first time I saw it, and I thought similar to you, like, 40, that's up there.
Right.
And the 90s sitcoms, when the parents would turn 40, I was looking at them the same way that I think people typically look at an 80-year-old now.
Right.
Not that you should look at anyone of any age that way. But I think that there was a lack of exposure back then. I feel like one of the biggest things that changed people's behavior is social media, because it was easy to get access to people that they would never have met in real life. And they're hearing that you don't have to be this caricature when you reach a certain age.
Right. And I love how you brought up the sitcoms, because the sitcoms we used to watch, it was like the parents were like 35.
Yeah.
And they looked like they were 70. And like looking back on it now, it's like ridiculous. And you see all those memes or things on Instagram. It's like, you're the same age as all these people that were on Cheers or that were on like all these shows. And you're like, oh my God.
It's terrifying.
I don't feel that old. Like my knees feel that old sometimes, but in my head, I do not feel 43. And I'm like, wow, how did that happen? Where we just wake up and it's like, oh my God,
Yeah. And I think also part of it was the medical care back then. Like I know medical care has taken these big strides since the 80s and 90s. We still have so much farther to go, but it's just different. And I feel like, you hear all these stories about how the medical industry is heavily patriarchal. So it was easy for a woman to walk into a doctor's office in the 80s and 90s and be like, well, I have these weird symptoms, and doctors just didn't, and I'm generalizing, but I think women had a problem a lot of the time with doctors just not caring enough about what was going on to do any real research into what the diagnosis could be. It was like, well, you're in menopause, or you're depressed.
Right.
So I think a lot of stuff was going undetected. And now we have a lot more access to education and maybe some better medical knowledge, which is making women younger.
Right.
But then at the same time, there are these problems like perimenopause and menopause, where there's still this shocking lack of information.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
I don't think you
and
or
like
I
you said, you could often be like, oh, well, that's just menopause or, and not look into other things and just accept that when you're about that age and not, change anything else about maybe your lifestyle or the way you're eating or you're trying to do the same things you were doing when you were 20. So I think a lot of it is adaptability too over time and not giving up on yourself. So let's get into some of these. I jotted down, 5 that I wrote down, and you're welcome to add some more. But the first one I put is that, one of the biggest myths or fallacies is that life stops and you're supposed to now become a withered, old, decrepit prune. So just to put it bluntly. And, like you said, things are changing. And, I think women are realizing this, or men too, that, over a certain age, but I still feel like there's still some people who actually believe this, that oh, well, I'm a certain age, so I'm bound to just be overweight or just be, have back pain all the time, or it's kind of like we, in a weird way, or a certain way, maybe give up on ourselves a little too much, where acceptance, it blurs the line between acceptance and just giving up completely.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like there's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, to your point, I remember a couple of years ago, I was having a conversation with some people at work, and one of my coworkers who was in their early 20s was talking about jumping over a little wire fence. And someone who is, I think, in their late 40s, early 50s, turned to me and said, yeah, remember when we were young and we used to be able to jump? And I wanted to say, I can still do that. I think
just not as high.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
It reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever seen, it's on Instagram. I forget her name, but she does, what is it? I forget what it is. But one of the little skits, she's a comedian, that she does on there is the parkour. The parkour where people like jump off of cliffs and they do these like really like daring things. And hers is like the over 40 edition or something, where it's like a little hop, like, like on a rock. And it's hilarious. I'll have to get her name for you, but it's really, really funny.
I want to see that.
And the other things that she's big on, the things we're embarrassed over that we shouldn't be embarrassed over. They're so true. Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's a really good point, because I think a problem that we have is from the time that we get our periods, this is info that's supposed to be kept under wraps because we don't want to weird out men. We don't want to gross out men. So there was the whole issue with people complaining online about the see-through plastic backpacks that women were carrying a few years ago, because men don't want to look at your tampons. And I feel like
I think it's not just men too. It's like, it's what is acceptable, behavior in society, and like everybody gets their period, but it's like, oh, can't talk about it. Like I said, kind of boomer era kind of thinking. So let's go to the next one real quick. And this one, I know I brought up to you the other day because I thought about it, and I was like, how they say that there's certain sayings and stereotypes and cliches and that kind of thing. And the one is that you get wiser with age. Yes. And I'm thinking modern day era right now, that's so not true.
Yes, it is really not true.
Right. So the saying, yes, you get wiser as you get older is not necessarily true. It can be true. It often is true. But I think it has to do with your experiences and how you learn from those experiences. So if you're always going through life and you're going the hamster wheel and you never have any kind of self-awareness, or you're not conscious of certain things and the lessons in those things that you go through, then you're not going to get wiser.
I agree.
Essentially.
Yep, I totally agree. And I also think there's a problem in, I don't know if you've experienced this, but if there's a woman who's talking about how she's now older and wiser, I feel like a lot of the time the woman is saying something that she regrets. So it's the whole thing. I think we were recently talking about this, is the saying that women are taught, you can have everything, just not all at once. And I hear this from people who are reflecting upon their decades-long careers and raising families, and they realize at some point they were trying to bite off more than they could chew. But you never hear that from your typical man. If someone's doing a town hall in corporate, I don't ever hear a man say, I wish that I had been a more present father, but I was so much of a workaholic. And now I'm older and wiser, and I realize I should have been with my kids more. So a lot of the time, unfortunately, I've associated like the over 40 wiser woman with, well, I'm going to think about what I did wrong, and I'm going to pass this on to younger women so they don't make the same mistakes.
That's an interesting take on it. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not true for everybody. I think it's a very personal thing. And just because you say you're older and wiser doesn't mean that you are. Essentially.
Right. Yeah.
Or it reminds me of people who boast how enlightened they are. It's kind of the same deal, right? It's coming from more of an egotistical kind of place.
Definitely.
And so the next one I have, number 3, that it's too late for anything new. What do you think about this one?
That one's rotten. Because it's just dictating how people live their lives, and I think that's very strange. You hear about these guys, it's not just celebrities, right? It's people that we could know, like friends of friends. Some 65-year-old guy who's on, just having his 3rd kid. So why is nothing ever too late? Or I hear a lot about people, how there are a lot of layoffs going on right now. There are people in their 50s, 60s who are open to work on LinkedIn. No one's telling them it's too late to get another career. So I feel like with women, a lot of the time I feel like there's a lot of association with biology when it comes to too late and attractiveness. So it's like, well, you're old, you're not attractive, you can't have kids anymore. It's just too late for you to do what you want. But there's so much
and
more
I think
than
it applies to men too. So it's across the board, where you get to a certain age and it's like you've put so much time and effort into maybe a career, and suddenly, like you said, you're laid off, or and starting over just feels so heavy. It feels like so much, or it's like me. I started 9 months ago. I started playing the cello. And I was just like, I'm just going to do it. Like, I know I'm going to suck at it for a while. I know I'm not going to be, playing in any, master symphony orchestras anytime soon. But it's good for my brain. And I want to learn something new and kind of stimulate those neurons in my brain and do something different. Or like you said, I know you were learning you were learning Spanish, I think.
I was
a little while ago, or so something like that. But I think it applies more to maybe career or relationships and that kind of long-term thing, not just hobbies, where people feel like, I've been working on this my entire life, and to just like start over feels like I can't, So,
and there are different levels too. I think there's a lot of conditioning in this country where if you're going to start something, you have to be the best at it. You don't have to enjoy, like you can get a lot of enjoyment out of something, and you can get like build on your knowledge base and not be the best at it. You know, you could play cello. You don't have to be disappointed that you're not going to play in an orchestra.
It's
You know,
it's the comparison game
exactly
that kills us.
right.
It's
It doesn't have to be pinnacle.
It's looking at other people, how much time they've put in, and thinking, oh well, I can't do that now, you know,
Right.
or not being present with the process. And that's part of learning something new, is being present with the process and not just thinking ahead. Oh, I need to be at this certain destination by a certain time. You know, we drive ourselves nuts in our own brains.
Yep.
And we're not present half the time. We're thinking so far in the future and what everybody else is doing that we're so far away from ourselves. And that's where we lose, you know, our ability to try anything new. But, you know, the time is going to pass anyway. And, you know, you should just go for it if there's something that you want to do, or if it's, you know, it doesn't matter how old you are.
Agree. And like just in the 9 months that you've been playing the cello, you can do a lot on that instrument that you had no idea how to do before.
Oh, absolutely.
Correct?
Yeah. I mean, I video myself, tape myself so I can see the progression. So, you know, anybody who is doing something new, you have to remember where you came from over time. And maybe if it is an instrument or something, find a way to track, you know, your progress along the way, whether it's writing in a journal or something like that. So you can see your progress and look back on that and it not feel so like, oh, I still have so much time before I get to expert level kind of thing. So, all right. And number 4, let's see. Oh, this one is that if you're not married or have kids, that you're selfish kind of thing. So this is a big one. And this one hits home for me because I don't have kids, not married. You know, there's a lot of disappointment, and maybe like our parents' generation, or they look at other people, or you know, there must be something wrong with you if you're not married by a certain age, or we kind of turn it on ourselves. There must be something wrong with me if I haven't found a relationship or not in a relationship by a certain time, and people will want children. Oh, well, you know, I'm this age now, and you know, it hasn't happened, and we beat ourselves up so much for this kind of stuff. What do you think?
I totally agree that it's like you're a victim of this. You're just walking along trying to lead your own life, right? You're not hurting anybody in the personal choices you make. You have a 10 plus year, right? Very happy, stable relationship. And then people make it like you're a failure because you don't like have a government agreement that you guys are committed to each other. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's two sides. I think there's two sides to this. It's the one where where like a woman may beat herself up because it hasn't happened yet for her. And she thinks there's something wrong with her because the societal, you know, default is like, oh, well, you need to be in like a you know, straight relationship and have kids and do things in this order. And again, the comparison game where you're comparing yourself to all your friends who are there. And then the other side of this is what I said, first of all, is that you're looked at as selfish if you don't have kids or something like that, or if you refuse to go along with, I guess, the societal, what's acceptable in society, or what our government currently is trying to like bring us back to, these traditional kind of values. And anybody who has children, you know, that I give them a lot of props, because it's, you know, it's a challenging thing, but it's also very rewarding for them. But I also think at the same time that some people are maybe not meant to have children, and they're meant to share their gifts in another way in this lifetime. So I think what society tells, especially women and men too, because men go through the same thing where they're like, well, I'm not in a relationship, I'm not married, you know, beat themselves up for it. There's different avenues, and I think there's different paths that an individual can take in their lifetime, and how they can give to the world, whether it's by procreating, having
Right.
children, or in other ways. Maybe, they're an artist and they leave a legacy that way and that kind of thing. So,
Agree. I
yeah.
think all of that great stuff that somebody can use their time and energy doing instead of doing the traditional route, right? Like putting so much of themselves into a marriage and taking care of a husband and taking care of kids. I think it doesn't matter. I've found it doesn't matter what type of administration we're under. It could be a woke one, as certain people like to
As they
say,
say.
as a slur, or a far right leaning one. There's always
Right.
that undercurrent of, well, what's wrong with you for not going the traditional route? Because that's just what people do. But I look at it as, well, if you're just going along with the status quo, then nobody has to worry about anyone becoming a threat. Like if women are using their gifts in other ways and not focusing on getting married, having kids, taking care of their husband and their house,
Right.
they could be getting more control over their own lives than they would have had otherwise. And I think that makes a lot of people feel threatened.
Yes, and that can go into the why woke women are scaring people of certain age, powerful women who maybe are more career oriented. And look, this is my thought. You have to go with what's in your heart. So as we know, not everybody is probably meant to have children or should have kids.
Yep. Yeah.
And sometimes it just happens. And some absolutely are, because they're natural caretakers. They're natural, have a motherly instinct. And I
Yeah.
think what maybe older generations and other people, or maybe people of a certain religious background, don't necessarily understand, because they're not in that person's shoes, is that not everybody has that feeling within them. They might have a feeling that's more purposeful in maybe career, or
Right.
maybe helping the world in other avenues. So you have to do what's in your heart and stop listening to what other people are telling you to do, even what your parents are telling you to do, what society or certain religions are telling you to do, and do what's in your heart. Okay. Because
Yes.
that's going to be the most aligned thing you can do at the end of the day. If you
Completely
don't
get
do
it.
what's aligned to you, then you're going to feel out of sorts at some place in your life.
Exactly.
It's going to be more difficult. Yeah.
I totally think that what you're saying, like what you're describing, is so massively undervalued. Like, so many people, I think, write this off as, oh, that's just hippy dippy, you're selfish. If somebody is happy and fulfilled, I think inevitably that's going to be pushed outward. So if someone is having a kid because they feel like that's what you are supposed to do, and deep down they didn't really want one, that energy is going to get passed to the kid, who will then pass that on to other people, and so on and so on. But if someone is
Yeah.
very happy and fulfilled, then that better energy gets passed outward.
Exactly.
That's how I
Yeah,
look
the
at
good
it.
vibes. And
Yeah.
I want to know, why are we so obsessed with what other people are doing?
Yeah, exactly.
We're so obsessed with what everybody else around us is doing, trying to fit them to our liking or our mold, is that we're disconnecting from ourselves.
Yeah.
And there's something, I don't know, there's something weird about that to me. How we
Very.
obsess over who somebody's sleeping with, what they do with their life, what kind of job they have,
Yep.
how much money they get paid. We're so like,
Yeah.
bothers me.
It bothers me too. And you know what really bothers me is that it's only to a certain point in the timeline. So it's like, oh, great, you got married and you had a couple kids. It doesn't matter if everyone in the house is always fighting. It doesn't matter if the kids are acting out because their parents aren't treating them well. Nobody wants to hear that. They only want to hear that you
As long as it
checked
looks
off the
good
boxes.
on the outside.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. So that's that. And number 5 that I wrote down, the biggest myth of being over 40 is that you'll turn into your parents.
Yeah, I think
So this is a good one, and this is a tricky one, because we all obviously have traits, and we sometimes will see those traits come out, and we'll say, oh crap.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, I sound like my parents. But I think the big thing here is that while you may be prone to following in those footsteps, self-awareness again, and being aware of and catching yourself on certain things, or maybe traits that you don't agree with or like that are coming out, or shadows, whatnot. It's being aware of it. It's being conscious of it, I think.
Yep. Oh,
That makes
completely.
you the individual, that makes you different.
Yes, for sure. And I think, if there's going to be any wisdom that's gained by people over 40, they have all these decades to observe the way their parents act and get a hold of, well, yeah, this is something that reminds me, I act this way and it reminds me of my mother. And I'm going to do something different with that because I've had all this time to look at our relationship and see all the ways that she's pissed me off or frustrated me. I'm not going to pass that on to other people. So I feel like you have the choice to not embrace similarities that you get from your parents, which I think a lot of people learn from that, and they improve. And then there are other people who just choose to act just like their parents do, and that's that. But I don't think that it's like a magic spell where like you pass 40 and you just organically, yeah, it's like everyone around you sees that you're becoming more and more like your parent.
Right.
I don't think that it's so outside the person's control.
Yeah, I think you could pick up on the traits that you like and keep those, and yeah, that kind of thing.
And I think it's another example of one of those control messages, right? Like, I don't want to sound like this ranting conspiracy theorist, but I think it's a societal thing. Like, well, older generations are more traditional, so you can't fight it. You're going to grow up to be more like your mom. So just don't try to get outside that box. Just roll with it and be more like your mom, Be a more traditional lady.
Right.
'Cause now you guys are both old, Like,
Yeah. So so those are my five. You got any additional
well,
myths that you thought of?
well, I think I'd like to add that women over 40, and this is kind of just branching off from the old and dried up prune.
Yes, decrepit prune.
Yeah, the old decrepit prune. Can't forget decrepit.
Gives a nice visual of a California raisin.
Right. That they just have to be completely divorced from any form of athleticism. It's very weird. And I think that ties into menopause also. It's like, well, I'm over 40. I don't have the energy. My joints hurt. I have all this weight gain.
It sounds like me. It sounds like I fall into that habit where I'm like, but it's like your own brain, and you actually can make yourself chronically tired the more you tell yourself, I'm tired. This hurts, that hurts, and stuff hurts. I mean, you're getting older, obviously, so your joints, you need to adapt, like I said, and you need to take care of yourself. But I think, there's this level of like giving up, like we mentioned, and just saying, well, I'm of this certain age, I'm going through perimenopause or menopause, so this is just how it is, and
Yeah. And I think I actually had it in the back of my head, I think when I was in my 20s and 30s, that there's just something that happens to your like cardiovascular and like muscular system where you just can't achieve the kind of things that people in their 20s can. And then I got older and I thought, no, I'm looking around at all these different generations that have all different capabilities and are all different shapes and sizes. And none of those qualities are automatically like aligned with age. Like there could be somebody who is like absolutely ripped and I find out that they're 52 years old.
Yeah. I mean, it does. There are ebbs and flows, and there is a level of, okay, I can't do exactly what I was doing when I was 25.
Right.
My recovery is not as good. I need more days to rest, recover. I have to change how I'm working out. I have to shift things around. And that's what I think. It's like we live in such a black and white world where it's like, oh, well, I can't do, 5 high intensity workouts every week. And because I feel terrible, but it's like, you have to accept your age, but also accept that you don't have to give up exercise, or that you can do similar things, but you just have to shift things and listen to your body. And that's what we don't listen to our bodies. Like
Agreed.
things shift. Like I can't work out every single day. I can't do, hour-long workouts like I did, because my joints will hurt, and I do need more recovery time. But I still work out, and I still, I'm in better shape than I was when I was 20. I'll put it that way. So we go through,
Right.
because when I was 20, I was binging every week, and I was drinking tons of alcohol and just not taking care of myself, not exercising. So it depends where you are in your life, but I think it is this level that you do need to understand that, yes, your body is going through changes, and you need to listen to your body, but that doesn't mean don't do anything.
Exactly.
And it also means ebbs and flows, in that certain times of the month, obviously, certain times of the year, certain times depending maybe if you're more stressed. So there's so many components that factor in, but the main thing is to be intuitive and to listen to your body when it comes to, what your body needs, what your body wants. Maybe, okay, my body is telling me I need more rest right now. Also seasonal shifts, right? So many things affect us. And I think we're so rigid in our beliefs that it's like, oh, this month it's really hard, or I can't, I feel really weak, or that kind of thing. And I keep getting injured. And you have to listen to the red flags. You have to listen to your body, but also know that, your body you can't hate your body also.
Right. It's
You
all
have to
part
learn
of the
to
new
love
routine.
it. It's all right. Exactly.
And I learned, because I was a big culprit of this when I was in my 20s and 30s, where I would,
Control
let's say,
freak.
Sorry?
Like control freak.
Yeah, and using something as an excuse to just give up. Even when I was in my younger years, it'd be like, oh, I wasn't feeling well and I haven't worked out in 2 weeks. So I'm just not going to do it anymore because it's it's too late, which is so ridiculous. It was just a 2-week break, and you can pick up right where you left off, more or less.
Yeah, and I think for me, I used to work out because I just wanted to lose weight, and we're seeing that now again. We have the GLP-1 injections to lose weight, and everybody, it's like the new weight loss fad.
Yep.
But other people, and I see patients all the time. Tons of my acupuncture patients are on this stuff, and they just no appetite. They're not eating, and I don't know if they're exercising or not. They probably don't have much energy to do it in the first place. But it's like we're always focused on this, especially women, just the weight loss. And that's what I used to exercise just to think, oh, I want a 6-pack, or I never got one, but I want to, I want to lose weight or be this certain weight. And I think it has shifted. And this is where I feel wiser in myself, because I've gone through a lot of binge eating over the years. And I've changed my relationship with food, where now I nourish myself, and I may not eat certain foods just because I know they're going to not make me feel so good or energetic or clear-headed in my day. But that's just me. But also exercise, I've noticed that I'm not necessarily exercising to lose weight. It's more about being stronger and knowing, because perimenopause is upon me, that you do lose more muscle over time. So it's about maintaining and just feeling strong, and just mental state as well.
Exactly.
So I think if we get to a point, we've always been so focused on just looking good and the aesthetics and weight loss, but if we shift to a place of nourishing our body with food and you know, exercising because it's good for our heart health and that kind of, you know, the things that should be the, I guess, the goal. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get it to a degree in that I used to have, and I've talked with you about this before. I used to have a pretty big struggle with body dysmorphia. And I would feel such a sense of accomplishment from denying myself food. Like if I was running around and
Same here.
You know, like you don't eat breakfast or lunch because you're stressed, you have a lot to do. I felt like I was like deserving of a reward because my reward that I got was seeing my pants falling off my hips in the mirror. And it was like the comparison game that we're not supposed to be doing, where it's like, well, I could feel insecure in areas A, B, and C, but at least I'm super skinny. But that's not good. Like how, you know.
Right. Or I'm super skinny, but I feel like crap. I have no energy. Like
Right.
I can't enjoy food anymore because I have no appetite or these kind of things. And I think this is something that I don't know if we'll ever get beyond it. But I think on an individual basis, it can shift.
Yes.
You know, so if you can help something, I don't think as a whole, I think we're always going to have that kind of default of looking good because we live in a very fluffy, superficial society.
Yep.
Focused on pop culture and all these kind of things. So until that changes, I don't think the whole thing will change. But if certain individuals can kind of rethink it or shift their perception a little bit on their body and food and exercise and you know, especially when they get older, I think that's a huge plus.
Yes, totally agree. And that's something I'm embracing in my perimenopausal years. Like I changed my relationship with food, like you were saying. If I'm eating you know, egg whites and sausage in the morning, it's no longer, well, I have to deny myself food later to make up for these calories. I'm so glad that I'm getting this protein that I can use for my weightlifting tonight. So just changing that definition of what it means to eat a meal has been really beneficial for me, and focusing on, well, I want to build muscle mass. It doesn't matter that I'm going up in clothing sizes. It means that I'm building muscle, not that I'm becoming some unattractive person.
Right. Yeah. So you know, yeah, I mean, even aside from exercise and food, I think, yeah, there's something about being a certain age or moving over 40 and something profound happens where, for a lot of people, where they go through something where it's like things just click or perception shifts.
I
Call
would
it
say
like,
so.
I've called it like the midlife mirror. You know,
Yeah.
where you do a lot of reflection and what I've found lately, I've been, you know, we go through ebbs and flows and in our lifetime, and I talk about like yin and yang states a lot, and yin is very contracting, like inward focused, and yang is very outward moving, a lot of activity and movement. And you know, as we go through life, we kind of ebb and flow through these periods or life stages, and this goes for men and women, where we'll see, and this goes into the thing, maybe why older, powerful women sometimes scares people. And this is a woman going more into her yang state, whereas maybe when she was younger, she was more shy or introverted. And it's like suddenly just the eagle spreads its wings and suddenly she's powerful. Or you see men, and this is the stigma in society about men who are emotional or sharing their feelings, being, you know, who don't have the warrior ethic, you know, ethos, whatever it's called, that, you know, there's something weak about that. But that's a man who's mostly yang in nature going more into his yin, and we're a balance of both. So we go through ebbs and flows in their lives. Like, for example, me or myself, I feel like I'm in a cocoon right now.
Okay.
I've been cocooning. I've been very like introspective, reflective, not feeling very outgoing or wanting to like do a lot. And I know
Okay.
this is a phase, and this has happened before, where, and I'm sure you felt it too, where you go through periods in your life, and it happens, pretty often that, you could be very like everything's happening all at once, or nothing is happening at all. So it's
Absolutely.
like you feel really energetic and you feel sociable, and then maybe the next moment or the next month or the next year, you feel very like I just want to like hibernate a little. I'm
Yes.
cocooning myself. I'm ready to break free
Yep.
soon. But right now I know that this is a stage where I need to just kind of like chill and take it easy. And I think that's where clarity comes sometimes. So I think the older we get, we start to notice these ebbs and flows a little more. I don't know if that resonates with you, but it's something that I experience pretty often.
It absolutely does. And I think that something that's been really helpful for me is that I don't look at that ebb and flow like there's a problem anymore, because it has gotten stronger
100%.
for me, like the urge to cocoon. And when I would have something resembling that when I was, let's say, in my 20s, I was embarrassed and ashamed to tell people that I just wanted to stay home and have some quiet, some solitude. As I got older, I had the luxury of learning how to communicate better and more clearly let people know what was important to me. So now I can easily say, I'm going to stay home this weekend because I just feel that I need it.
It's that intuitive thing again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't expect anyone to be like, oh, you're a loser. I
Right.
don't care if they think.
Right. Well, years ago, you probably in your head, you'd be projecting that
Absolutely.
out. Oh, people think I'm, something wrong with me.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
totally.
it's more of the urge to shut down. And I look at it as a recharging, right? It's going to make me, I'm sure you feel a similar way. Like if you are able to do the cocooning, it just makes you so much better equipped for what comes next.
Right. And it gives you more clarity. And sometimes, like, we're always fighting, and you still get frustrated when you're in this state. It's because, like, I want to do stuff. I want to, like, ready to break out. But at the same time, you know that if you do that and you force it, and it's like this push and pull, if you force too much, then you're either going to fall into a place that you regret because you just forced something that was not really supposed to be there.
Right?
You got impatient and you didn't sit with yourself, and you just kind of go through that cycle, you
Yeah,
know. So yeah,
absolutely.
it's listening to yourself, knowing that it's okay, especially with the seasonal shifts and things like that. You're gonna feel that, and yeah,
Do you
I think
find
that's an important thing. Yeah.
are there certain times of year where it's more common for you to need that
Right
decompression
now.
time? Okay.
Right now.
Okay.
Well, obviously fall and winter are
Okay.
more like hibernation. You just have to look outside your window and look at nature, and nature is very wise in itself.
Yes.
You're part of
Right.
that, and you're seeing like in winter like animals are hibernating and stuff, and humans we're always going against nature, right? So we're like, oh, January 1st, right, smack dab in the middle of winter, I'm gonna start my new exercise program. We're going 6 days. I always thought that odd, right? And I get it because it's like the start of a new year, but it's so
Right.
opposite of like Chinese medicine or like Taoism, like living in tune to nature. So that's
Oh.
kind of what I mean. But yeah, you're going to feel more energetic probably around summer and more yang energy and that kind of thing. So just to throw in a little, yeah.
And there's something to be said for Chinese medicine, right? Because you see all the people packed into the gym on January 2nd or 3rd, and then by mid-March, they're all gone.
Yeah. So
You
that
know?
says a lot. That says a lot.
Yeah.
You're going kind of, you're forcing it. And of course, everything at first, you're always really motivated and revved up. And then once that wears off, you're kind of like, I'm
Right.
tired.
Yeah. And
I'm
also
gonna
with
watch TV.
exactly. And then there's guilt. Like that's another
The
Western
guilt.
thing, right? It's, oh,
Yeah.
well, I want to start my new exercise plan in January because then that'll allow me enough time to look good for swimsuit season. It's always about being in somebody else's gaze, right? Being evaluated by someone else instead of, well, I want to start a new exercise routine because I want to feel less inflammation. Or I just want the piece of a tough workout well done. Or it's not enough about, as selfish as our society is, everybody cares a whole lot about judgment from outside people, like people they don't know. It's pretty fascinating.
It is fascinating. Yeah. Psychology 101, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I was going to talk about, and I don't know, maybe we should save this for another podcast, the surviving the pre-cell phone dinosaur era that we came from. Because again, we're 43. This was we're like in this elder millennial, even though I don't consider myself a millennial, but we're technically like on the elder millennial side.
Yeah.
But we grew up in the, pre-cell phone era. And then we so we saw both worlds,
Right.
So that's another thing with being in this age bracket that I think a lot of other people don't have or don't understand, that we really saw this huge transition from dinosaur technology to all of a sudden like AI and all this kind of stuff. Social media wasn't really a thing when we were young, and now kids like they have a phone from the time they're born pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's another thing.
Right. Little babies playing games on the iPad and they don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
They have their online access. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, so we won't make this podcast too long. So I think we will end on, Tara, what is your biggest pet peeve, would you say, at 43 right now?
Oh my gosh.
I have to put you on the spot.
I don't want to be a broken record, but I really
You're like a cranky old lady. The cranky old lady that you are. What is your biggest pet peeve right now?
I really think it is the assumption that I am physically spent. Just I guess I can give a specific example. And I think this has a lot to do with me being just a woman of any age. There's this rule at work that for every minute late that you are to a staff meeting, you need to do 10 push-ups. So there was one time that one of the male managers.
That's hardcore.
Yeah. So I think he was 2 minutes late, and he got on the floor and he did his 20 push-ups, and we all got a laugh and whatever. I was a minute late, and I said, okay, it's only fair. And
Tara does one-handed push-ups.
Yeah, I wish. But nobody let me do it. They just said no, and they changed the subject.
Oh, because you're female.
I think also
the rule just for you.
Yeah, and I think also because of my age. They're like, she's a 44-year-old, going on 44-year-old woman. She's going to get on the floor and not be able to get back up. I had a feeling that was the vibe in the room, right?
Being polite, yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of thing is a pet peeve of mine. I know everyone is well-intentioned, but that kind of thing is, if you say that you have a certain habit, like people know that I lift weights, I'm no star at it, but have your expectations of someone align with what they say they're capable of doing.
Right.
So what about you? I'd love to know your pet peeve.
So my cranky old lady pet peeve is still like loud noises right now, like loud leaf blowers, loud talkers, loud construction noises. It just
is like the misophonia is getting more intense.
I guess I'm just bothered by because it's like it's certain things, like certain noises that are loud, that are just like annoying frequency to the ear.
Okay.
So that's my cranky old lady. And I wanted to ask you, what would you say is your biggest nugget of wisdom right now? Being your wise old self.
I would say this is very cliched, but don't ever think that it's too late to be in a fulfilling relationship. It doesn't matter what it is, a super close friendship, a romantic relationship, there's always something going on. The people who are in your orbit are going to go through all different phases of life that they didn't expect, and so are you. And we have more connectivity these days than we ever have. Get out there, and you could be 75 years old. The dating scene is like college.
Right
if you find the right networks and you have the right attitude. I think
Yeah, I
that'd
like
be
that.
my nugget.
I like that. And I also want to bring up, like, as you get like your friendships will change too over time. Right? That's something we didn't get into. We'll save for another day. But that's something like the ebb and flow of relationships and people who, as you change, the people around you will change, who you resonate with, who you don't resonate with. And that's perfectly okay. A lot of times we still try to hold on to old relationships, right? Or old habits just because it could be anything, right? Especially, old habits is a good one. Like, I'm still drinking, 3 days a week, even though I don't like it anymore. Like, it doesn't make me feel good. But like, it used to make me feel good. So we're like holding on to that, trying to get back to that, or this activity, like it used to make me happy. And like, now it doesn't anymore, but I'm still going to do it. You know what I mean? So I think we have to give ourselves permission to adapt to certain things and to let go of certain things. And like you said, invite new people in or new things in, and be open to that. And not be so rigid about it.
For sure.
And my nugget of wisdom, I would say, is always expect the unexpected. Because
I like that.
You're going to just, whatever you plan out in your linear little head, it's never going to go that way. There's always going to be blips and loops, and there's always going to be all kinds of detours and something to throw you for a loop that you never would have expected. So.
Yeah. And I think that makes a lot of people angry because it's like, well, that means I don't have enough control. But it doesn't matter how much you have over your life. You can't control the universe.
That's right. Well
I like
said.
that a lot, Jen.
Well said.
Very wise.
So anything else you got for before we close up here?
Really, what's at the forefront of my mind right now is I'm so excited about the other podcasts because the other topics are like at least 45 minutes just on
the social media and the friendship one.
Oh yeah, and the cell phone age, talking about like how we've adapted to technology.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I look forward to more good
we'll
combos.
Have to reconvene as to not make this one 2 hours.
Right.
So,
what about you? Any final
cool.
thoughts?
No, I think we covered a lot of it, and just don't be afraid to do anything new. Don't be afraid of your age. Don't fall into these, cliches and stereotypes and ageisms, and don't pay attention to your age at all, really. But listen to your body and listen to your soul and listen to your spirit and listen to your heart and listen to all that stuff and stop listening to other people's opinions.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Nice. And be your own advocate too. That could be another one.
Be your own advocate.
At the doctor's office.
Be your own cheerleader.
Yep. At work.
100%.
Love
it.
it.
Love it. Well, thank you for joining me. And this was fun.
Thank you for having me on the show. I look forward to more conversations. This was awesome.
Yes. All right. Well, until next time.
All right.
Until
next time.
See you on the next one.